Hi, everybody. Well, Pierre Poilievre, he's going to return to the House of Commons as the leader of the opposition. It wasn't easy, but what do we do now? Like, what do we do in the meantime? In Canada, we're still stuck with Carney, this lizard man, WEF, globalist, banker, prime minister who's really doing nothing. Like, we're still stuck. I feel stuck. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's August 21st. Oh my goodness, summer is going to be over soon. Anyway, yeah, okay, I am glad that Pierre Poilievre won. I mean, some of us in our who support the conservatives and who support change and who wanted to see a liberal government gone. We went to rallies, we were behind him. All of the podcasters kind of became friends. We were so pumped up. I mean, like when Trudeau was in, it was like Pierre couldn't lose. He just couldn't lose. He was ahead by so much. And then came Trump, finger wagging and all this, and it wounded the very fragile Canadians. So, oh, we don't want to be the 51st state. You're hurting our feelings. And then Trudeau steps down. In comes Carney. Of course, the liberal, corporate, corrupt media here is completely on his side. They kind of spit shine him. For some reason, they introduce him on the Jon Stewart show, where he's kind of funny, a little bit affable, and he duped everybody. Pretty much everybody, because like I work in normal places in the daytime. I talk to a lot of normies. They really fell for it. They fell for Carney. They thought he would be the new face of the Liberal Party, this guy who had a good head on his shoulders. And we kept telling you in the media that I'm not part of that media anymore, but the media kept telling you, hey, he's got this economic background. He can make the deals. He's a banker, all the positions that he held before that gave him such financial respect. We all thought he would take that experience, governor of the Bank of England, governor of the Bank of Canada, a Goldman Sachs guy, and bring it to Canada to make it successful. But he just ran it into the ground. But that doesn't matter, because the media had pumped him up and everybody bought it and everybody went elbows up. And if the votes are real and everything was on the up and up in Elections Canada, which I guess it was, I don't know, he won. And at the time when Trump was like teasing us and everything, and he still does, then Pierre kind of pivoted a little bit and he kind of distanced himself from the Trumps. So again, that kind of alienated people at the time that liked Trump, because a lot of Canadians liked Trump. And there are a lot of Canadians that I talked to that were like, hey, I wouldn't mind becoming the 51st state. Look at the Western Canada, Alberta. We want to break away. We're done with this country. So many times on social media we see Canada is dead, Canada is gone, Canada is broken. I don't recognize this country anymore. And I don't. And so Pierre, at the time, he kind of pivoted and sort of was like, these unjustified tariffs, and he was supporting things maybe we didn't want him to support, or whatever happened. That it was a very difficult thing for him to play. He kind of didn't know how to play it, I guess, at that point. And he kind of narrowed his base. I guess he narrowed the base of the Canadians that actually kind of maybe liked him. No, actually, I take that back. We did like him. The people that liked him, but it did kind of, it was a very conflicted. He had a conflicted political game to play at the time. Like, how does he handle this Trump thing and assure Canadians that he's the guy? I think in every interview I ever saw of him, whenever I heard him speaking, I just, it is clear he's got a good head on his shoulders, and not anytime soon are we going to get rid of the government. So who do I want to have? I would rather have him. Okay. But now that he's won this BattleRiver-Crowfoot thing, and it was such a hard fought battle, this is quite a sprawling riding. It's quite covers a big surface area. He won, and they say that it was very easy riding for him to win. And this, again, he doesn't have any help of the liberal media, of the corporate media. They kept pushing that lady, Bonnie. She's a lady, right? Bonnie Critchley. she just came from out of nowhere and sort of raised some funds. And then the media obviously got behind her because she's their type, right? That's just the type the liberal media would like to support. And I mean, whatever, she did her thing and she got 10% of the vote, but Pierre got 80. And so as a result, he will head back to the House of Commons and away we go. But here's the thing, like in question period and stuff like that, is Carney even going to show up? Now we're like getting all excited for September because we're going to see him take on Carney. We've seen it before, or we've seen it in debates and things like that. But like Carney probably isn't even going to show up to a lot of it. And Carney still, we're not going to have an election again until 2029, I believe. So how do we get rid of Carney? I don't, at this point, I just want to see a change. I would rather have Danielle Smith be prime minister, Damien Couric, the guy who actually gave up his riding for Pierre. He would be great. Larry Brock would be great. Pierre would be great. But anybody, a bloody Aaron Gunn is amazing. Like anybody, I would just like you. We could take anybody. Melissa Lantsman. Anybody would be good just as prime minister. Just put anybody in there that's got a good head on their shoulders, because we can't have this guy sinking our government. Okay, so let's have a look. Yeah, let's take a look at a little bit of Pierre. This is from 2 days ago when he won.
Here again. Conservatives welcome lawful, orderly immigration, but it has to be done in our national interest, the right people, and in the right numbers. In other words, we will fight to restore an immigration system that puts Canada first.
And Canada first. Got to be. Okay? Got to be.
And increasingly, the Liberals are losing 2 trade wars, one with China and one with the US. Since Mr. Carney took office, $60 billion of net investment has fled the country to escape high Liberal taxes and brutal anti-development policies. This has weakened our economy and our negotiating position against other countries that want to take advantage of us. Those investors are taking their money to other places that have lower taxes and more favorable treatment. Meanwhile, US and Chinese tariffs have actually worsened since Mr. Carney got elected, and that was election that he ran on getting a better deal. We continue to extend our hand to Mr. Carney and say that we want to work with any party to put an end to the tariffs and get a fair deal for Canada. We propose a Canadian Sovereignty Act to take back control of our economic destiny. This act would legalize pipeline construction, rapid mine approvals, LNG plants, nuclear plants. It would get rid of the industrial carbon tax, the EV mandate.
Well, that all sounds fantastic. I mean, when you see him, it's like, he says all the right things, and those are the things that we want to see happen in this country. I mean, he was always criticized for being a career politician. Well, what do you want? When you hire a plumber to come to your house, do you want a guy that's never plumbed before or done any plumbing? No, you want the plumber, of course. But for me, I mean, and that was great what he said there, that it's not a partisan thing, that he'll work with any party. It's really about Canada, with immigration, with crime, with jobs, with housing. I mean, here in BC, we haven't created any new jobs. We gave jobs that we could have for shipbuilding over to China, because they're going to build our ferries. And in fact, China builds all the ships. They build ships for all kinds of ships. They have cornered that market, and we can't even get a little ounce of it. David Eby, who's like the Justin Trudeau 2.0 here, he does nothing to support BC ferries. I mean, he does nothing to support this province. He's such a doofus activist premier. I'm so disappointed that we're stuck with him. And here in BC, there's nothing creative. Like all the new jobs that have been created have been public sector jobs. So it's all generated by tax money. It's not even like we're creating or producing anything. All the new jobs are just like coming out of the tax kitty. It's really, really quite pathetic. But for me, like, I like Pierre. I like the conservative leaders. Obviously, my values align with their values. But I don't want to see Carney anymore. I want an election. And I was just thinking, well, when and how can we even get one? Like, when could the next federal election occur? Okay, so just reading some of my notes here. So we had our election April 28th, 2025. So by law, federal elections in Canada are scheduled to occur every 4 years, which the next one would be slated officially for October 2029. Okay, we can't wait that long. We ain't gonna survive. Okay, so if we want a dissolution of parliament, how can we trigger an election? So loss of confidence. The Liberal minority government led by Carney, if they lose a confidence vote in the House of Commons, we could trigger an election, and this could happen if opposition parties, the Conservatives, the Bloc, the NDP, unite to defeat the government on a key vote, such as a budget. Well, we have no budget, or throne speech. So right now, the Liberals hold 169 seats, 3 short of a majority, which is 172. They rely on the support of other parties, like the Bloc and the NDP. Bloc has 22, NDP 7 to pass legislation. So if there's a withdrawal of support, then we're on to something there. So we'll see if that happens. The Prime Minister can request the Governor General, our useless Governor General, Mary Simon, absolute, like, she's about as intelligent as this plant, and this is a plastic plant. So she could dissolve Parliament and call an early election, but only at the behest of Carney, I believe, right? And what's he going to say? He really wants this job. He wants to be PM. Or maybe somebody just put him here and said, you taking this job, you are the guy. And if you don't, there's consequences. We don't know how these people roll, how the elites roll, or what's going on. We don't know. Minority governments in Canada typically last 2 to 3 years, meaning an election could realistically occur between mid-2027 and 2028 if the Liberal government faces challenges maintaining support. But at least, Poilievre, he's the leader of the official opposition. So great. So oppose. That's your job. Get in there and oppose. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Oh, and looky here, good old CTV. They're saying, this is their headline, half of Canadians would be ashamed to call Poilievre Prime Minister as Tory leader wins back seat in Parliament. Oh my God. It's just such a shameful headline for CTV to write. I mean, I feel bad for Pierre. I mean, he put up with all the stuff. He lost his seat to Bruce Fanjoy. That's because he probably said he was going to kill public sector jobs. And then all the people in Carleton freaked out and voted Fanjoy back in. And then he doesn't have that on his side. He doesn't have the media on his side. It's a constant sort of uphill battle. This is Bonnie Critchley, the lady. I mean, I was going to say her name should be Bernard, but Bonnie. Let's see what she has to say.
For an independent?
I think she's now saying the election was stolen.
Well, wasn't that interesting? Not quite what I expected, but that's all right. I still took 10% of the vote, and for an independent, out of nowhere, with 3 months to work and a team of 5, that is unheard of. That tells me people are hearing my message and they want to see integrity and truthfulness and actual caring and compassion come back to politics.
Whatever. I don't hear you criticizing Carney. He hasn't lived here for most of his adult life. He was born up in Whitehorse or the Yukon or something, or up there. He's got nothing to do with the writing that he stole from Chandra Arya. I didn't hear you criticize that at all. What's your problem, girl? Here we are. We're back in the saddle again. Pierre is back in the saddle. I wish him all the best. And, he did show some humility, and it's a very tough position for him to be in. But I could see in that clip that I played for you earlier, his fighting spirit, his smarts, his wits are still with him. And he's got the support of a lot of people. So great. I mean, kudos to him. Okay, before I wrap up this video, I want to just say, as you know, if you're new to my channel, I worked for global news and for the media like CTV and City TV and all them buggers. I worked for global news for the longest. And I want to just show you this. I was at work today at my normal day job. I'm like Batman. I have 2 identities, but I was very surprised and quite saddened to hear of this lady's passing. Now, if you're from British Columbia, you will recognize this lady's face if you watch TV at all in the last 20 years or so. Because I worked at Global as a newscast director for a long time, there are a lot of people that we were constantly putting on TV all the time, like Tim Shields. There were always spokespeople that we always had on, and she was one of them. This is Catherine Galliford, and I was so shocked to learn that she died today at age 58. We are seeing, of course, a lot of people die young and die suddenly. I don't even have to explain to you why I think that is, and what this thing does that causes a turbo, where all of a sudden you can't even battle cancer. Back in the day, people had these long battles with cancer. Not anymore. It comes, it takes you out right away. You know what I want to say, and you know why I think this happens. But Global News, I'm going to play this story from Global News. I haven't watched it, but Global News, have you figured it out yet? You lying buggers, your shares are down the toilet. When I left there, I was hoping that I could destroy you. Well, when you kicked me out, I just thought, you're going down, and you are going down. Your lies, you're deceiving the public, your lies of omission, you're firing everybody. Well, like Simon Hergott and myself, he's a documentary maker who was a camera guy there. They fired him. He's done Frances Witterson's latest documentary. I'm going to interview her on Monday, but I'm going off on a tangent. Global News, your lies and your deceptions and your ignoring the truth, you could make it better, but you are not. And did you figure it out in this story? I mean, this lady dies at age 58. I've rolled video of her on many a newscast. So it really, it saddened me. Here we go. Let's have a look.
He arrested a third suspect in the Air India bombing.
She also sued the force for sexual harassment.
I started to normalize the harassment because I didn't know what else to do. And then it just got to the point after I had about 16 years of service that I broke. I completely broke.
Galliford died Friday from liver cancer at age 58.
I think Catherine Galliford was a very courageous police officer. One of the best spokespersons that the RCMP, I think, has ever had.
Galliford's lawsuit prompted a class action, and more than $100 million was paid to sexual harassment victims in the RCMP. Among them was Eleanor Sturko, who recalls the attacks on Galliford.
I can remember that people characterized her as being crazy and disparaging her. And I really, that was deeply disturbing and sad, because the Catherine Galliford that I had always admired was one that was one of the best in her field.
Even as she battled PTSD and agoraphobia, Galliford continued to support the families of Picton's victims, speaking at an inquiry into the killings.
My understanding is at this particular time, we have, if not DNA samples from all of the families, then close to all of the families.
Galliford is being remembered for her bravery, someone who inspired others to speak out about harassment, prompting awareness and change within the RCMP. Catherine Urquhart, Global News.
Catherine Urquhart, I also worked with for many years. She was cool. She was nice enough. Yeah, that's very sad. Yeah. So if you live in BC, and you watched any sort of newscast, you will remember her. And my condolences to her family. I find this very sad that people are dying so young all over the place. It's no age to die at 58. And you're a relatively healthy person, and cancer comes and takes you out like that. This is beyond sad. Beyond sad. I'm really sorry I don't have anything funny to... Oh, how can I end this? Maybe I do have something funny. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me, because people do need a laugh. Hold on. Let me see. I think somebody very special sent me a message. Let me get this for you. Okay, let me play this message for you. I'm not sure if this will brighten your day, but...
Bonjour, Anita. This is Justin Trudeau. I have an announcement to make, and I wanted you to hear it directly from me before you hear it in the news. A local indigenous tribe is using ground-penetrating radar in our area to confirm the presence of children's remains who died at the hands of their white, privileged caretakers. The search team discovered an underground trail that led directly to my house, and so they had to search even inside my house. But all they found were skeletons in my closet. Merci.
That's just a little joke, Justin. Don't get mad. Don't get mad at me. That's just a little somebody being funny. You just go off and have some more dinners with Katy Perry. Okay? All right. Okay, everybody, thank you for watching this video. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with me on a Thursday evening. Come and join me again on Monday, August 25th. I think it is, whatever day Monday falls on. I'm going to interview Frances Witterson, okay? And she's going to tell me all about what he was talking about, ground penetrating radar. That sounded dirty. Okay, good night, everyone. I'll see you soon. See you Monday. Hey, if you enjoy my content, like it, love it, subscribe, hit the bell, do what you gotta do, and pass it around.